Go time, motherfuckers. I don't know what in the 2000 hellscape is going on here, but this thing is hideous. I know they've redone them since then, but I bought the old version to be more authentic. And regardless of the headphones being in, I am reading physically for the entire thing. So like always, I don't know a damn thing and I cannot wait to start. I do think I should be entitled to the information on the cover though. So one choice decides your friends, one choice decides your beliefs, one choice determines your loyalties forever. One choice can transform you. Are these 4 different choices, or is this one choice and then these are just all of the repercussions of that? Just a couple of opening comments. 1, you know you're poor when you only can access a mirror once every 3 months. 2, the dauntless. Every day, jump from a train? Look, I would get it if it's like, hey, opening of school year, we're going to jump from a train to show our domination and let you know you don't get in our fucking way. But every day, that's not good for your knees. Surprise Attack from the Future, the live reactions to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is over on the Patreon right now. And now we'll get you back to Divergent so you can listen to another 18-year-old trying to hit on a minor. Doing a pretty good job of world building so far, though. I do know that there's a couple of factions. I know that this lady is poor. I know that she wants to leave her family, which means going to a new faction. I don't really have an indication of which one of those is best yet. It does kind of sound, and I could be wrong about this, but it kind of sounds merit-based. Like you have to take a test to see if you could even get into the other ones. I don't know. The only thing I do know right now is that she's going to leave her family. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Lenmore, 2025. They already said the word. It's like chapter 3 and they said it. You know when you see the title of the book in the book and you're like, I spotted Where's Waldo. So a Divergent is somebody who doesn't belong to like any one faction. So she's basically Harry Potter. You put the hat on the head. The hat says, you could be really good over here. Lots of dark wizards. I like you. You know, but he chooses Gryffindor because that's the safe option. So I think she chooses, what's the name of the one with the dangerous people? Dauntless. I want her in Dauntless, but actually, she's not gonna, is she? She's gonna come out as Divergent and then something happens. Because that's how stories work. If things went according to plan, the book wouldn't exist. She's not gonna end up in any of these. Damn it. All right, it's the day of the choosing thing and she's going in to pick her faction. And I'm gonna complain about something. I'm just gonna do it once to get it out of the way nice and early on, okay? Could we not have picked easier fucking names for these factions? Abnegation, Erudite, Amity, Dauntless, Candor. I feel like I'm trying to memorize the fucking periodic table of elements. Swear jar. For those that don't watch the movie videos, we have introduced the jar of sin because I do tend to cuss a lot on camera. Gonna donate this money at the end of the year. Boy, I'll tell you this. This book is named appropriately. I think Veronica Roth has done a very good job so far making it distinctly clear that the main character does not belong in her faction and therefore probably doesn't belong in any faction. We keep hearing that Abnegation is supposed to be like completely void of vanity. They're supposed to blend into the background and not be selfish and not even do things like using sarcasm because there's vanity behind that. And our protagonist the entire time is going, I have to remind myself not to do these things. I have to remind myself not to do these things, which means that it isn't natural to her. I just can't for the life of me figure out what's going to go on because she can't pick any of these factions. Right? I also am not sure if I've ever read a book that wears its influences on its sleeve as heavily as this one does. This feels like it was written directly after Hunger Games. And guess what? It was. I don't know. The vibe that they're setting up is entirely Hunger Games. Mixed with, again, I'm going to say Harry Potter. Although I don't think necessarily that Harry Potter is an influence of this. I think that one is just me in my mind.
She's dauntless. I don't know what I expected. Like, I knew she just cut her hand and it's over. It can't be over. Because we've already been told that she's Divergent, that she doesn't belong to any of these. I thought that like something bad was going to happen. I know I told you I was only going to complain once about the periodic table of element names, but I never promised anything about this dauntless train bullshit. It's so stupid. You're telling me that none of these 16-year-olds ever became a paraplegic by trying to jump on a moving train? The second that happens, it would have been shut down. Getting to and from school happens by jumping on a moving train. What? I live in a society where giant yellow school buses have to strap giant red stop signs to them to keep people from plowing over kids. And in this society, they said, go fuck yourself. You want to get to and from school? Go risk being in a wheelchair. We have now met Eric and Four, which, you know, those names are choices. And because I am going to make the assumption that most of this book is inspired by and maybe directly ripped off from Hunger Games, I think that one of them is going to be the love interest, and I think that one of them is going to be the bad guy. The question becomes, do I bet on enemies to lovers, which would make Eric
the love interest? Or do I bet on the good guy being a good guy, which makes 4 the love interest? 100% of possibility neither one of them are involved and there's no romance in the story whatsoever. I know that it's probably not primarily a romance, but if she ends up with anybody, my money is on 4. If you could ignore my simple Jack haircut, I'm about 30% into this, and honestly, I'm just trying to figure out why I am supposed to care. They're just beating the shit out of each other. That's all that has happened since the last update. Violence and bullying. One girl lost a fight to another girl, got the tar beaten out of her, and her punishment for getting the tar beaten out of her was to hang on a pole over a river. And now, I'm not even joking, they were woken up at like 5 a.m. like it's a military drill in the middle of the night to go play Capture the Flag. Is this it? Is this the big bad dauntless? Summer camp fear factor? That seems to be their only thing. This fucking sucks. I do think I was wrong about one thing, though, in terms of the mirror and them being poor. She might still be poor, I don't know. But the mirror thing was specifically because of the vanity aspect that they're not allowed to do. So you live and you learn. She likes mirrors now. Can't get enough of them. I come to you with knowledge because do you remember Eric? Fun fact, Eric is a sack of shit. And it's still in that place where I don't know if this story is going to be romantic or not. But if she ends up with Eric, I'll burn this whole thing down. He's just cruel. He's not even fun cruel. He's an a-hole for the sake of being an a-hole. And now every other chapter, they're just going to tattoo parlors. Where are the adults? Maybe I'm just paying attention to the wrong things, but I don't think that I've seen a single adult show up in this faction since she arrived. All of the tests and simulations just appear to be run by older teenagers. Isn't this the faction that's supposed to be like guarding everybody? Protecting the wall, whatever's on the other side of that wall? I know it's something. There better be something. I need a big bad in this because I am not reading 3 books about whatever this is. There's too much going on and not enough at the same time. You know, there's this guy Al, and he's so sweet and nice, and he protects other people, but then other people just bully him, and I want him to be happy. And then, is Beatrice's mom a spy? They just casually threw that one in. It was visiting day, and the mom shows up, and she's like, how are you ranked? And you're like, Mom, what the how do you know about this? And also, you know about this? Why don't you tell me about this? We've already established if the daughter fails any of this, her 2 options are paraplegic or live without a family. And the mom didn't mention anything. But it is, it's starting to move into this place where the story's picking up a little bit. It has been alluded to that some factions don't like other factions. So some are blaming other people for some of the problems in the society. And then one of them, erudites, are not allowing abnegation people into their compound. So the mom can't even visit Beatrice's brother. Basically what I'm saying is on a person-to-person basis, like between the mom and the daughter and the friends and the bullies, this shit doesn't make any sense. It's ass. But they are building a political upheaval happening. And I need that to keep me sane. And now there's a zip line. What was the thought process in writing this? You got simulation, capture the flag, simulation, zip line, simulation. It's like, we need something to move the story forward. Do we reuse the simulation storyline and just throw her into another situation that doesn't exist? Or do we do another summertime playground activity? How the choices are endless. I knew it. She's going to end up with 4. It's just starting to hint at it, like a soft touch here and there. Hey, you're stronger than this. I believe in you. That type of stuff. History would tell me that at some point 4 is going to do something really shitty. And I don't want that, but at least I was right about the first part.
Turns out Al is a bad guy and he killed himself.
Something's going on here, and I don't exactly know what it is, but everybody keeps trying to blame abnegation for everything that's going wrong, things that we didn't even know were going wrong, but abnegation is who Beatrice was originally with, our main character. And 1, I don't know what they're building up to, but if I have to watch her fight her family, I'm gonna be pissed. Mike Tyson biting off ears kind of anger. And 2, I still have room to be wrong about this, but it kind of makes me feel like there isn't a big bad outside of the fence and that these books are just going to be them fighting amongst themselves. And I don't love that. There has to be a big bad, right? Like, why are they behind this enclosure? There's going to be a coup, though. At this point, I'm almost positive there's going to be a coup. He's 18. Another book, another legally adult male trying to get with a minor. How? How is this channel not demonetized? The amount of times that I have said that fucking sentence between Twilight, Hunger Games, Pride and Prejudice, God knows what else I've mentioned it in, seems to happen in every book that was written between 1811 and 2014. And thank you. I do look good. I appreciate you noticing. I'm headed to a funeral. That's not a joke. I am headed to a funeral, and that's what I have to think about while I'm there. I I hate it. And his name's Tobias. Four's name is Tobias. This is what I think of when I think of Tobias. I'm back. Funeral was good. Thanks for asking. But I was listening to the book on the way back. And this son of a bitch, if I have to teach one more fictional character how to talk to women, my head's going to explode. Four and Triss have told each other that they like each other and they've kissed a little bit. And this guy, they're talking about her looks and she's being self-deprecating because of course she has to be like, I'm not like other girls. You know, a hallmark of books around this time. But listen to this conversation.
I just don't get it. I'm younger. I'm not pretty. He laughs. A deep laugh that sounds like it came from deep inside him and touches his lips to my temple. Don't pretend, I say breathily. You know I'm not. I'm not ugly. But I am certainly not pretty. Fine. You're not pretty. So?
Buddy. What the fuck? When the girl says, I'm not pretty, you don't reiterate the point and go, you're right, you're not. That's if a million ways existed to handle that situation, that's number 1,000,001. Last place by a long shot. What's wrong with the simple, you don't understand how pretty you are to me? Which is beside the point of even if you don't find them attractive. Once again, Mr. Darcy, why do you find yourself in this situation to begin with? She goes, I'm not pretty. He goes, you're right. What? It's like this guy, Mr. Darcy, Edward, all had a meeting together and went, how do we treat women as shittily as we possibly could? And they brainstormed because they came up with things that my mind would have never come up with. Anyways, I'm going to bed. Tomorrow's the last day I have with this book, so gotta finish.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting the day off with another simulation. I love these. Today's menu is kidnapping. That'll be fun, but we're in the last 100 pages or so I expect the book to be rather quick as we wrap this up.
And there it is. Erudite is planning a war. We don't have the details of it. We just know that they found some maps and plans and stuff. And again, alluded to that they want to use the Dauntless to fight the war for them, which that makes sense. They're the soldiers and the protectors. What is really bad, though, is that it has to be against abnegation, which is Beatrice's family. And as we learned, I didn't even mention this, Four's father, which I also think is a plot hole now that I think about it, because Four came from abnegation and he's 2 years older than Beatrice, so she'd have been 14 when he did his choosing ceremony. Wouldn't she have known about that? I don't even know where to begin with this, okay? I'm reading an episode of Scooby-Doo right now. I'm not going to get too far into it, but basically the main character does like an all of the sudden moment where everything just becomes crystal clear to her, even though nothing led up to that. And we're pretty sure we know who the bad people are. We're pretty sure we know what the Erudite want to do in regards to the Dauntless. And in the middle of the night, Beatrice wakes up and everybody's like a zombie walking down this hallway. And a million things happen at once, okay? Four is also Divergent, which it alluded to that earlier. The Erudite are controlling the Dauntless with the serum that has been going into them with these simulations. That part does kind of make sense. I'll give them a round of applause for that. That is the scariness of abnegation, is that they don't belong to anything. They have not been mind controlled like everybody else is. So these serums don't work on them. But the main thing that was confirmed to me is that Eric was always a shithead. And I knew it. I clocked him the second he got on screen. There's a moment when everybody's a zombie and Tobias, Four, is pretending that he is still a zombie. And Eric pulls out his gun and points at his head. And he's going to kill him. That's where I'm at right now. The gun is still pointed at his head. Things are bad. They've been discovered. The mom is a spy. Or not, maybe spy is not the right word. She was born in Dauntless. And she has a bunch of tattoos and a gun.
The last 100 pages of a book are always just a whirlwind.
The mom died. But she was the one who could tell me everything I needed to know. She had the answers, and she's dead. At least I don't have to watch her fight her family. Shit. Oh, actual silver lining. The father and the brother are there as well. And not that this is a good thing, but Beatrice got shot and her father took the bullet out. Yay, family moment. Family moment. Oh. And Four's dad. I don't think I told you this, but we don't like him because Four's dad, Marcus, used to beat the piss out of his son. So we don't like him and we want him to die.
No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
And her dad's dead. Why? Why would you kill both parents inside of like 10 pages? That didn't feel necessary.
It's done. It ended on as good of a note as it could have. You know, Tobias, the 18-year-old, said I love you to Triss. There's a little bit of weird tension between all of them and his father that kind of made me think that his father might not be as bad of a guy as Tobias said. And for all intents and purposes, they're all factionless, which really opens up the story for book 2. I mean, I did not love what I just read. I'm going to gather my thoughts, do a full thing here at the end, but I cannot imagine that books 2 and 3 are as bland as that.
Okay, I put on my professor sweater and taken a minute to think about what I truly believe about this book. And I'm not going to rehash everything that just happened in the story because you watched my reaction to that stuff. That is how I feel about it. I don't feel that way in like a haha funny way, the way that I did about Twilight. I feel that way about it in a way like I don't understand why this book ever got popular. And the question I ask myself is this a demographic problem? Because when this book came out, I know that it was targeted at like 14, 15, 16-year-olds, kind of like Hunger Games was back in the day. But acknowledging that is basically saying that I am not cut out for any YA, that YA exists in a category that is beneath other levels of rank. And that is a statement that I disagree with. Because I went and looked at my shelves and I pulled off a bunch of books that are generally considered to be YA that I really enjoyed. So you have some things on the more adult end of it, which is more like Mistborn or Red Rising. And then you have things on the less adult scale, more like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, To Shape a Dragon's Breath, Hunger Games, and House on the Cerulean Sea. All books that are rated somewhere between 3 to 5 stars. And then you have this little son of a bitch, which I am going to rate 2.5 stars. And I do not think that that is because it's YA. I think that it is just because it is a nonsensical story. The world that is initially set up where all of these different factions existed to control certain aspects of society, that does make sense and is a base that I think you could build a really good story around. Nearly everything that happens after that are kind of the ramblings of a teenager. Not the main character, that's not what I mean. I mean the author. Now, there's good news and bad news there. The good news is I trust the series to get better. This does tend to happen. I don't know how much better I expect it to get, but I do expect to enjoy books 2 and 3 more. The bad news about that is that I do think that this is a Hunger Games ripoff. And not that she stole, like, the story structure from Hunger Games. That's not what I mean. I mean, I think if Hunger Games was never written, this was never written. That is my way of saying that it is the knockoff version of it. That I don't think a publisher would have bought this if Hunger Games was not controlling the market at the time. Those are some very broad and bright statements that I think that you will have some pushback against, and we will discuss those on the Patreon in a week. But thank you so much for being here for this journey. I am really excited to see the movie because it is always fun to see how a director changes what's in the book to what's in the movie and how you choose to tell that story. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here. And if you're looking for something to watch, the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies video is live on the Patreon right now.